Hey, it's Matthew here in sweet Jamaica. Just took a nice cruise up into the Blue Mountains to cool off. It's been a real hot week and I figured it'd be a nice day to go check out the view from Kingston, hear that nice bamboo crackling. Anyway, today's little video is about what the hell is going on when you travel to Jamaica from overseas. So I'm going to explain this more from a North American perspective. I'm from Canada. A lot of tourists coming to Jamaica are from the United States. Definitely check the local information for your country because it's absolutely going to vary and this information can change. So this is up to date as far as September 2021 goes. So definitely pay attention. How do you get to Jamaica? Jamaica is open for tourism. It's been open, I think, since June 2020. I came here last year and the system is quite a bit different. So the one thing that did remain the same is you need to fill out a travel authorization on visitjamaica.com. You need to tell them what kind of tourist you're going to be or how you're visiting the country. Is it for business? Is it for visiting friends and family? Or is it for tourism? So there's a big difference between going to a resort that's basically on this what's it called? A special tourist zone or whatever, where you don't have to deal with a lot of the fuckery that you may have to deal with if you're visiting family friends or if you're coming as a tourist and wanting to tour the rest of the island. But anyway, that's number one. Get your travel authorization. The next thing that you're gonna have to do if you're from Canada or the US is you're gonna have to get a COVID test within 72 hours before you take your flight, or they might not even let you on. You pay more money if you save it to last minute, so I highly recommend going a couple days before. It cost me, I think, about $150. It was pretty quick. It's the one they jam up into your nose and give it a twirl for 3 seconds. It's not that bad. I mean, there's definitely worse things. Kind of feels like it's tickling your brain, but at least it's over quickly, right? So, got that test. You have to show your travel authorization, so print that out or have it on your phone, and definitely have access to your COVID test. Doesn't necessarily have to be on paper, but a something showing that you have your negative COVID test within 72 hours. Now, when I arrived in Jamaica on this trip, and I arrived end of August, things were much different than before. If you watch my video from last year, which I'll link below, when I arrived, you had to fill out all kinds of paperwork. They force you to put an app on your phone that tracks your movement. You had to do video check-ins every single day, multiple times a day, at random times of the day, and read a number off the screen saying your name and reading out this number. I thought it was kind of sketchy. It seemed like sketchy in the sense of who's actually monitoring this. A country this size with this many people coming into the country, are there the resources to monitor this, or this is more just keep people in line by making them think they should behave, which they should. We're obviously, no one wants to be spreading COVID around and making people sick, of course. I'm not saying that. Anyhow, that app thing was completely gone. This time when I showed up, I even brought a second phone because I didn't like the idea of having it on my main phone, which I use as a camera. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna bring a second burner phone and stick the app on that. But when I arrived in Jamaica this time, they didn't say anything about that. There was no app. This time you have basically 2 quarantine options that you have to do. You're supposed to either do 8 days if you're double vaccinated. If you're unvaccinated, you're supposed to do 14 days. The funny thing is though, is when you show up, they basically just say, hey, remember to do your 8 days or your 14 days, and then you're just off the plane and running around. So it seems like there is no one monitoring. Now, wear your mask, don't get anyone sick, don't go to a big party, do your social distancing, I get that. But, if you're double vaccinated and you had a COVID test, 24 hours before you come to Jamaica, are you gonna stay put for 8 days? That's up to you. I pretty much did because I had some things I was shooting in one area, but that was my decision. So anyway, this sort of rigid app tracking and that stuff seems to be completely out the window. It's a honor system type, do your 8 days or do your 14 days. Is anyone monitoring it? I don't know. Do you want to risk it? I think you sign off on something saying, at least last year, like you can get fined up to 10,000 USD if you don't obey your quarantine restrictions that you've agreed to. Is that going to happen? You know, that's up to you to decide. But it was definitely a much different thing coming into country this time compared to this time last year, like night and day. So it's been pretty chill, and yeah, it's been an awesome trip so far. If you're coming, like I said, to the tourism corridor, to these hotels and that kind of thing, you might be able to skip all this kind of stuff. I believe they even have COVID testing on the premises of some of these hotels. There's a listing of the properties on visitjamaica.com. So definitely check that out if that is your thing. So the next thing to pay attention to is when you're leaving the country, and this is super important too, because you could get stuck in Jamaica. And now that might not be a bad thing. But citizens of the United States and Canada, you are also going to need a negative test before you even get on your plane back home. And this is a big deal because you're in a different country and you're going to have to go find this test. Now, luckily, there is a location. It's right at Kingston Airport, Norman Manley. As you drive up to the airport, just before you turn right before the departure section, there is a COVID test station on your left. It seems to be running pretty smoothly. It opens, I think, at 7 a.m. and closes in the evening. I tried to look this stuff up online and I could not. I literally had to go and see what was going on to actually get this information. But my experience was it was very simple to do. It was quick. It cost me $100 US. Now, this is also important too. As a Canadian citizen, I needed a PCR test. That has to go to a lab. So this is not a rapid test. This is not something you do right before you get on the plane and go home. You have to do it at least 24 hours before you get on that plane. And I highly recommend doing a little bit more time, maybe 48, or you can even do it within 72. But make sure you have enough time to get that result back. So when you get your test, it is super easy, and they do the brain tickle thing again. It's over in 6 seconds, and then they're gonna email you your results. But 24 hours, and they say it normally comes back the next day around 10 or 11. Now my flight happens to be at 1, so that's pretty much perfect timing to get this negative COVID test back. If you're from the States, I hear it's different. The States, you can get the antigen test, which is much quicker, and I think you get your results in about 15 minutes. So make sure you confirm this, but the main information I'm sharing is you can get the test at the Norman Manley Airport. It's open at 7 a.m. If you're from the US, you can probably leave a bit of extra time, get it done right the day that you leave. If you're Canadian, at least 24 to 72 hours, okay? So go to visitjamaica.com for the current info, but this has been my experience while I am here visiting the island. Something else of note that has been happening lately while I was here, which came up very last minute. When I booked my flight, this was definitely not part of traveling, but in Jamaica right now, there has been a series of lockdowns. These lockdowns were supposed to be a few different weekends, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, where everything is locked down. I mean everything. No shops, no gas station, there's police checkpoints on the road. You know, if you're going up into the country hills and that kind of thing, of course it's gonna be more relaxed. I'm talking about main, you know, roads in Kingston, you know, driving from Montego to Ochi to Port Antonio, those kind of things. It's all gonna be shut down. So it's been quite strange because I got a lot to do. I want to be traveling around. I had a lot of plans that fell apart because of these temporary lockdowns. And originally it was only supposed to be 2 weekends and then 1 Sunday. Now, a few days before the weekend where it was only supposed to be 1 day, they decided, you know what? Actually, it's 3. And you know what? We're going to do the next week a lockdown and the week after that, and who knows how long it's going to be. So if you're coming to Jamaica and planning on traveling around, a good half your week or almost half of your week, you're gonna be stuck in one place. So plan accordingly. To be honest, if you're trying to just do your thing around Jamaica and run around as I usually do, traveling all over, not staying at one resort or one hotel, it's a kind of tough time to do that. because the other thing is there's a curfew, a blanket curfew after 7 o'clock all over the island too. So you've got 4 open days a week, but they shut down at 7. So nightlife, bars, that kind of thing. Restaurants are open, but they close right at 7 o'clock. So if you're gonna do a sort of freestyle rolling around, just totally following whatever your heart desires type of trip, it may not be the time for you. Now, because of this lockdown business, make sure you go to the shop a couple days before the lockdown starts too, because it gets crazy busy. As you drive around, you're gonna notice lineups for everything. Lineups for Western Union, lineups for the grocery store, big lineups at the bank. So save yourself some trouble, have some Jamaican cash before you get here ideally, and yeah, get your food organized. If you're not staying at a resort, you're gonna have to eat something. And yes, you can probably find a little cook shop on a back road that is open, but the go-to spots I found, they are totally closed. So you can probably find mangoes on the ground and live a few days, but if you wanna really enjoy your holiday or your trip here, definitely stock up on the things you need. And I'm glad I bought some water, because the place that I was staying, the water stopped for a couple days. So very happy to have a drink. It's blazing hot. Anyway, just be prepared, Boy Scout style. That has been my experience. There's lockdown fuckery. There's tests you need to get. Overall, it's still been a fantastic trip. As usual, the people are amazing. The country is beautiful, the food is fantastic, so I still recommend everyone come to Jamaica, but keep these things in mind before you book your trip to avoid any nonsense. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep on chilling here. I'm at Bloom Cafe. It's actually not even open the next couple weeks, but I will be back. It's a beautiful spot up here in the Blue Mountains. I was hoping to get lunch, but I'll have to try it another day. Anyhow, please support Jamaica during this pandemic if you can. I hope you can come here. Just be aware of the important things to keep in mind when traveling here. Bless up. Thanks for watching.
Here we go. Oh, he's going for it. He's going for the camera. There we go. You like sugar cane?
So it feels like a yoga mat.
It bit me. It didn't taste like lemon. I'm getting lobster grease all over my phone, but it's so worth it.
So this is what I'm going for. This is a full-grown POW shell here. Hey, what's up? It's Matthew. Please join me on my other channel. It's called Earthly Eats, exploring surf and turf from the ends of the earth. Just click show more below.